love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union. Hello comrades and welcome back to the Ushanka Show. Today we're gonna return back to the story of my childhood. If you follow my channel, you should remember that we had an important event happen in my family. We managed to get a new apartment, and that's when we got Soviet-style mortgage. So we moved from the tiny single-room, like a studio-type apartment, Gostinka, which was only 10 square meters. And we got 3-room apartment on the second floor of brand new apartment building, and its dimensions were close to like 67 square meters, so almost 7 times bigger size of the apartment. It had 2 balconies, and it had a separate toilet from the bathroom. So in Soviet Union, it was a big deal in apartments if you have a combined bathroom. So you have like here in America, most of them is combined. You have a bathroom, like a shower or bath, and a toilet next to each other, and it's normal thing. In Soviet Union, big deal was if you have a separate sanuzel, so-called, so your toilet is in a little tiny separate room, and the bath is a different room with a sink. So our apartment had separate bathroom, so-called separate sanuzel, so that was amazing. But we got ourselves in a debt for the next 15 years. And just like here in America, well, not exactly like that. We had a choice, so we could wait for about 20 years in order to get a free apartment, or, bite the bullet and go into the big giant debt, into Soviet mortgage, and it was interest free. And for the next 15 years, we had to cough up, I think, like 50 rubles a month, which was a lot of money for what my parents were making. So it was close to 30% of our family's income was going just for the payment. But of course, our lifestyle, you'd call it, got way, way better. Because now I had my own separate room. Parents had their own separate room. It was nice. But of course, there's always a price, even in Soviet Union, to have nice things. And since we moved to the new area, I had to switch schools. We moved, I believe, sometimes in the spring of 1981. So I had to travel back to the old school for a couple of months to finish my 3rd grade. And then I started my 4th grade in a new school. It was also a brand new school. The whole area was brand new. There was just a bunch of brand new apartment buildings built around there. It's an area called Yuzhnaya Borshegovka, South Borshegovka, and it was a brand new school, number 223. And that's when I started my 4th grade in the fall of 1981. So today I would like to show you my score table or score papers, and to kind of discuss what the Soviet kids were studying in Soviet Ukraine in the 4th grade. We started schools at 7. So 4th grade would be about 11 years old, 10 to 11 years old. So I attended 4th grade from 1981 till 1982. And the 4th grade is the grade that kids had major changes. From the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, we had, same teacher that was teaching us all the subjects. We had one classroom that we go there every day for 4 or 5 lessons, and the same teacher would teach us drawings and math and Russian language and history and so on. 4th grade, that was a big change. Now we had to switch, go from class to class, and we had different teachers. So there'll be one teacher covering Ukrainian language and Ukrainian literature. Another teacher will be specialized in Russian language, Russian literature. Then math teacher, history teacher, and so on. And we will have one teacher who, besides teaching the subject, also be in charge of our class, so-called классный руководитель, so like class leader. So that lady would be kind of watching over us and doing all the paperwork, organizing parents' meetings. But otherwise, the huge change is that we had to attend different classes. So that was very unusual because, after 45 minutes of class, you have to get up and go to a different class and take the spot again and have 15 minutes break, then you start another class. So let's take a look at my tabel from 1982. That's amazing. I'm so thankful to my mother that she never threw away all those papers. She kept it, and now they became super handy. So this is how the standard tabel scorecard looked for Ukraine at that time. It says the Ministry of Education of Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. And there's a specific rules. It says that tabel must be filled only by class leader. In the end of every quarter, class leader should give this tabel to a pupil that takes it to his parents, and then he's supposed to return it back to the school leader on the first day of the next quarter with the signatures of parents. So you present your tabel to parents so they see your progress during the quarter and they need to sign. Grading still the same system, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So 5 is excellent, 2 was already failure. It was, and 1, I had only one person was given away, I would say once, like if you perform super horrible. Usually 2 means you already failed. So 5 is excellent, 4 is good, 3 is okay, 2 is not okay, not satisfied. So the official name was 3 was satisfactory, удовлетворительно, 2 was unsatisfactory, and 1 was, I was not even named, just you failed. And also they put the grade for your behavior, and that one would be in words like excellent, зразкова, it's all Ukrainian language here. Then you got задовільна, which is okay, and незадовільна fails. So they also judge how you act in school by 3 levels. You're doing great, you're okay, and you're not okay. And in the end of the school year, all this is filled in with signatures, and director of the school must sign a tabel too. It goes back to parents. So during the year, tabel remains at school, and the end of the year, tabel goes back to parents. That's how my mom kept it. Well, let's take a look what subjects did kids study in Ukraine. And, in Russia, they didn't study Ukrainian language, of course, but in Ukraine we did. So we had Ukrainian language, and as you can see, I excelled. I had all 5s. Then we had Ukrainian literature, same thing. Russian language, I had 4, which was good. And I honestly don't know why I had problems with Russian language, because I was actually a Russian-speaking Ukrainian. Like, my first language was Russian. But for some reason, I never get 5 out of Russian language. Then Russian literature, also all excellent. I was still doing great in math. Only one time I had 4, the rest of 5s. Then we had history. Prirodoznawstwo is like a nature, so you discuss about earth and rains, oceans and stuff like that. Foreign language, another big change. We started foreign languages in the 4th grade, and I studied English. When my mother went to school, the majority of kids were learning German. Then later, after Cold War started, I guess, they Germany is not relevant anymore. Our main competition, my enemy, is America now, so we need to start teach kids English. Then we had образотворче мистецтво, which is art. Another mystery for me now, I don't recall why I had a problem with art, because I'm actually not too bad in drawing, but I had only solid 4. Music and singing, I did pretty good there, although my wife tells me right now that I'm a horrible singer. But I had excellent marks then. And I recall we did some singing, but most of it was our teacher would tell us to memorize another song. So that was pretty much like memorizing rhymes. So the next time you come back and he checks that everyone knows the words of the song, and then we do singing. So it was mostly about memorizing. Physical education, физическая культура, or as we call it, физра. I did okay there. And labor education. In labor education, I had a separate class, had the basic tools, so you kind of learn how to handle hammer, how to make different things from wood. And then the one with the waters, that's your like attitude and how you acting in school, and I had excellent there. Then I got signatures of my teacher, and looks like my parents, it's my mother's signature. She signed only for first 2 quarters, and then she for some reason missed it. And then on the bottom it says, hey, he got transferred to the 5th grade. Now, for some reason, what's missing here, it's also the 4th grade was the very first time when we had the final exams, final tests in the end of the year. And that was a tough one. So like I'm looking back, man, school in Soviet Union was way so much harder than modern schools here in America. Like it was quite stressful for kids in May, because you finish in the year and you need to start in the same time, start studying for your finals. So for example, in the 4th grade we had only one test, one exam or finals. It was in math. And usually they give you the list of questions. So they'd be like, for example, you have 36 kids. So they say, okay, you're going to have 36 questions. They're going to be written on the pieces of paper and laying face down on the table. And you pick one of them randomly, so you don't know which question you're going to get. And then you go to the blackboard and you just do your thing. You basically like have oral exam. Oral board, you by the blackboard you draw whatever the problem is, find the solution, and then the teachers ask you questions and you answer questions, then you get your grade. So that was really stressful. So besides studying a lot in May, which is, it's spring, you want to be outside and play, but you have to sit and study. At least I did study because I was quite a nerdy dude. I'm still a nerd. And then you go for that, you're supposed to dress super nicely, maybe bring flowers for your teachers, then you wait for your turn to go pick the question and then answer on the board. I remember I was very, very nervous. I was very successful. I picked actually the question that I was really good at, and I just nailed it. I got my excellent mark, 5. So what's missing, it's supposed to have a 5 by math, and then have a final score. What's interesting trick, I later started doing a lot of it. For example, if you have in 4, 4, 4 and only 1 5, so in 4 quarters you have only 1 excellent grade and the rest are 4s. If you score excellent on a test, your final score will be excellent. And that's the trick I started doing, because I don't want to study super hard all year. So I picked usually the 2nd grade, which was the shortest, and I study really hard, get excellent grade for that grade. Then I study, so the rest of the time and got 4. But then I nailed the test, get 5, and my final score will be excellent. So that was that little dirty trick I used to trick the system with this tests. So this is what we did in the 4th grade. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my day book, so-called dnevnik, for the 4th grade. I have for the one for the 5th, but not for the 4th. But this is what the kids were studying in Soviet Ukraine in the 4th grade. So I would say it's pretty intense. So, alright, so this is my little introduction to 1981-82. And this is a little story about school. And as I mentioned, quite often people asking me questions about days of the 90s when the Soviet Union was about to collapse. We'll get to it sooner or later, but I'm trying to build my story in kind of chronological order. So we're covering topics Right now it's early 80s, the schools, the housing, music and stuff like that, and eventually we'll get to 90s, so please be patient, and don't forget to like this video, share with your friends, and as always, I appreciate your support on patreon.com. Thank you, goodbye.